Okay, I think I'm live. Alright, so hi all, it's Tiffany. I should have gotten this situated before I started recording, but it is what it is. I just got home from dialysis, and I'm blinding myself. There we go. I just got home from dialysis, and you know, now that I've had some time to adjust and you know start to process the news of um, Tito Jackson's I don't even know how to phrase it, his transitioning on into heaven, I guess is the best way to put it. um, it literally just made me think about him, because I mean, yeah, I've been a fan of the Jackson family for, next year would make 30 years for me. And, while I wasn't always directly focused on Tito, like, I appreciated his contributions and everything. And, like, now, everybody's saying there wouldn't be a Jackson 5 if Tito hadn't busted that string. And I'm like, y'all are right. Like, I had never thought of it that way, but that's true. If he hadn't been there messing with his father's guitar, none of this might have happened. Like, this whole empire really was based off of Tito doing what he did. Even though he was a little naughty boy playing with that guitar. Thank you, Tito. But, like, I almost feel bad because when I started um, being a fan of Michael Jackson, I didn't really know anything about the rest of his family. And I hate to admit that, but I mean, you live and you learn. I was 9 years old, so don't hold that against me for being an ignorant child. But I mean, back in the day, the only thing I really knew at the time was that, okay, Michael Jackson did the song with Janet Jackson. I didn't realize Janet Jackson was his sister. I just assumed, okay, they're husband and wife. And, then I saw him with Lisa Marie, and I was like, okay, he divorced Janet, and now he's with Lisa Marie. And I was very wrong. So, like, it was quite some time before I found out about the Jackson 5, because, when I came into it, the History album was a big thing. So I only kind of knew about the solo career. I didn't realize that there was this whole Jackson 5 and then Jackson's epic career until a few years later. So I just remember the first time I saw, like, the Jackson 5 was back when TV Land used to actually show good reruns, and they were on the Sonny and Cher show. So, I saw the Jackson 5. Now, keep in mind, this is me coming in at, like, what, 9, 10 years old? No, absolutely nothing. And so I was like, oh, Michael Jackson used to have a song group. And I honestly thought that it was just 5 random guys together. Like how the Beatles were just like 4 random guys and they weren't like blood related or anything. That's just what I thought the Jackson 5 was. Okay, you got Michael Jackson as the lead singer and you got these 4 other guys. I was wrong. um, but as I got older and I started like learning more and everything, I wanted to know more about all of the Jacksons. And I do distinctly remember um, I was into Michael Jackson. I got into Janet Jackson for a minute. But, I usually would gravitate back towards Michael Jackson. And I remember I read the big J. Randy Taraborelli Michael Jackson Magic into Madness book. I actually have a copy of that somewhere in my apartment. um, and I just remember, through reading that book, that it was saying, okay, so this person has a solo album, this person has solo music, this person has solo music. And I distinctly remember at the time saying, huh, I wonder when Tito's, gonna do his solo album. I mean, Marlon, Jackie, Randy, basically all of the brothers, I believe, have some form of a solo record, or at least, a solo single, at least. Um, like, I'm aware of Jermaine. Jermaine has a few good songs I like. But, you know, as you dig back through it, there's a lot of people who don't know anything about like Tito. Like I said, I thought I was the grand poobah of Jackson knowledge, and I didn't even realize, okay, he's the reason why we have a Jackson 5 now. um, yeah, I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest, but I'm going to get it off my chest in time. Because I'm at home and there's nobody to interrupt me. And I have my phone actually on silent. So, sorry, Mike. My boyfriend's name is Mike. Sorry, Mike. Um, so yeah, like, I kept wondering, when's Tito gonna do some music? When Tito, now this is like in the 90s, the late 90s, early 2000s. So, when's Tito gonna do something? When Tito's gonna do something? So, around that time is when I found out 3T. And I just automatically assumed, okay, Tito is managing his three boys, like Joe managed his sons. So I was just like, okay, Tito isn't recording anymore. So Tito is just, managing 3T. And then, 3T kind of went on hiatus because, they got married, they had kids, all that sort of stuff. And, I'm still wondering, well, when's Tito going to do something? When Tito's going to do something? I had never even really heard Tito sing, like, like a solo record until I got the Victory album. And I love the song We Can Change the World. I didn't realize that it was him leading that song until I read, the liner notes. And I was like, wow, Tito can really sing. Now, keep in mind, this is still like in the early 2000s. I'm like, damn it, we need an album from Tito. I said, everybody else has had a solo song or solo album that they tried to put out. I said, we need something from Tito. And I mean, it even got to the point where Tito's youngest son, TJ, has a legitimate solo career now. Like, I have all of TJ's albums. I have, like, literally TJ merch just hanging in my closet and everything. My friend Bommy has the market cornered with that because she has everything. TJ. Yes, I put you on blast, Bommy. Just because I'm reliving memories and I'm a little sad doesn't mean we can't smile too. At Bommy's expense. But like I got hints of like, Tito can sing, Tito can really play, and at first, like I knew he played guitar and everything, but I never really saw him do solo stuff. Until right around the time Michael passed, because when Michael went to heaven in 2009, the Jacksons, his brothers, with Jermaine included, had done like a docu-series. Jackson's A Family Dynasty, because they used to have it on DVD. Lost the DVD in a hurricane, long story. But, the Jacksons were trying to get together and make a new record. I'm not sure if that record ever came to fruition or not. I don't have this information. If anybody has this information and can tell me what song or what album they put out, I would love to hear it. But during the process of the show, Tito suddenly said that he had the show to do. I can't even remember where he had the show at, because I mean it was like 15 years ago. But I do remember, Tito was doing his show. His mother came out to see him. Miss Catherine came to see him, and he had like this really cool suit on, and I was like, I've never heard Tito like just be Tito by himself and play music, and it was awesome, hearing that, and I'm still saying, where's the album? Where's the album? Where's the album? The album didn't come for a few more years. Like, I just think that kind of went on hold, after Michael Jackson passed, because the way that I as a fan was impacted greatly by Michael Jackson's death. But my hurt is a completely different type of hurt from Tito. That's his brother. That's his little brother. And, they grew up together. They traveled together. They lived their lives together. Around each other's wives and kids and all that sort of stuff. So, their dynamic was vastly different to what me or any other, like, normal fan felt when Michael died. And, to an extent, I'm still the same way as a fan of Tito Jackson. Because, I don't have that, like, deep connection to him that, like, his family or his friends who knew him the best, for, like, decades and decades and decades would know. But, I had to say all that to get to this point where, I had the opportunity to meet Tito Jackson once, 6 years ago. And I saw him in person one time, 2 years before the last time I actually spoke to him, which was less than 3 months ago. And I just hope I don't cry, but, like, it was a lot to get near Tito. So around 2018, 2017, 2018 is when Tito finally released his album, Tito Time. Of course, I ran and got it immediately. My friend sent it to me. Thank you, Carol. My friend sent me the CD. I literally have the CD in a plastic bag stored away. Like, I've never actually opened the CD and played it. I played, the music streaming. Because I was like, this is great. My intention was to always have Tito sign it for me. I never got that chance. But, through his son's radio show, and the D.D. Jackson Foundation, who is 3T's mother. We lost her, unfortunately, 30 years ago. Her life was taken from her, and I'm going to leave it at that. But, their show dealt with loss and grief. And, I spoke with, Taj Terrell and TJ. Terrell later on left the organization, but, it's still going with TJ and Taj. But, I expressed to them that, I have my own struggles, like dialysis patient. Both of my parents are deceased. And, kind of built up kind of a rapport with them. I am by no means like bosom buddies or anything. We're not going out to dinner all the time. I'm in Texas, they're in California. So, a lot of people try to make out that way. It's like, nah, it's not like that. But, 2018, June 9th, 2018, my friend called me up one day, about a month in advance, and said, hey, Tiff, the Jacksons are playing a show in Louisiana. We're in Texas, right next to Louisiana. So I said, well, when is the show? Because I'll never forget, she called me May 4th. It was Katherine Jackson's birthday. And I said, we're getting the tickets. And I said, we're going. We got the tickets. Long story short, we got the tickets. So I said, I'm going to start working on everybody I know to see if I can get to meet the Jacksons. And Ebony was like, you're going to do that? And I'm like, I'm going to damn well try. So over Twitter, I reached out to... Now, before I dive into this, I was supposed to see the Jacksons in 2012 in Houston. Last minute, the concert got canceled. And I remember I was exceptionally angry that time because I may not have been guaranteed to meet all the Jacksons, but I was pretty much guaranteed to meet Jermaine Jackson because I was talking to his then wife at the time, now ex-wife. At the time, I was begging her, can we meet, Jermaine? Can we meet Jermaine? I didn't realize at the time we were the same age. She was 38 at the time. I'm 38 now. But, the concert got canceled. We didn't see anybody. So, 6 years later, 2018, for 5 weeks, from the time we got the tickets in our hands to getting in the car, going, crossing the state lines, I had been on Twitter just absolutely bombarding the hell out of 3T, bombarding the hell out of the Jacksons' little page, sending texts and tweets and stuff to Tito, to Jackie, to Jermaine. Just sending it to everybody. There was even another person, I'm going to leave him nameless, but I was begging him, can you do something? And so we're driving in, and my phone rings, and it's my friend April. Now April is from states away, and she calls me and she says, "Tiff, did you check your email before you left?" And I was like, "No, I'm on the road. I've been on the road for like over an hour. Why?" She's like, "Oh, well, when you get to the Golden Nugget Casino, go find security. Um, TJ Jackson told her to tell me that there were VIP bracelets for me and Ebony." So of course I started flipping shit and screaming, cause I was like, "Are you saying what I think you're saying?" And she was like, "Yeah, you get to meet the Jacksons." She just said it cool like that. You're gonna meet the Jacksons. So I start screaming. Ebony has no idea what the hell is going on, and so she's like, "Well, what?" So I explained. I was like, "We're getting VIP passes. I didn't even know, there was a meet and greet scheduled to start with, but we had, the the wristbands." And when we got there, I checked myself in and I said, "Hey, I'm Tiffany." And the woman, it was a female security guard. She looked at me. She said, "Oh, you're Tiffany? We've been waiting for you." Huh? So, that was literally my very first concert I've ever been to. I hate to say that. I was like into my 30s before I went to a concert, but that was my very first concert. And we were in the sixth row. That was Ebony's doing. We were in the sixth row. Because when I tried to get the tickets, I had us in the 12th row. And somehow she found two seats side by side in the sixth row. So, we got it. I mean, people was turning around saying, "Wow, y'all got some good seats. Y'all got some good seats." I'm like, "Hell yeah, you don't even know the half of it." So, we go to the show. The show's great. I mean, the Jacksons are right there. And one of my favorite memories was Tito's first single had just come out. "Get It Baby." You can go play it on different platforms. It's a good song. And, I remember, the Jacksons were doing, "Can You Feel It?" ABC, all the good stuff. And so Tito get on the mic. And, this is back when Jermaine was still with him. Tara wasn't with him at this time. Tito get on the mic. And he says, I can't even remember how he said everything, but he was like, "This is my new song, Get It Baby." And I just remember leaping up out of my chair, like springing out of my chair, screaming. And Ebony jumped out. I mean, the music started playing. I mean, he was going to town with the guitar and everything. And the song was so new that, while I'm singing it and Ebony's singing it, I can hear other people in the crowd behind us saying, "This must be a new song. I've never heard the song. Those girls know the song." And it was like, damn right we know the song. And, we're freaking out. We're freaking out. So, the show finally came to a close. And we go get in line to meet the Jacksons. And the only thing that I did not like about it was I had Tito's CD in my purse. And at the last minute, they were like, "No autographs, no nothing like that. We'll take a picture for you." So I was pissed. I was like, I had literally bought a Jackson CD, actually, so that they could all sign it. And no. And then Jermaine dipped on the meet and greet, too. So I've never met Jermaine Jackson. But, I remember I was in line, and the way they were lined up facing me was Jackie, Tito, and then Marlon was on the end. And, I came forward, and Jackie said, Mr. Jackie, I gotta be respectful. Mr. Jackie said, "What's your name, sweetheart?" And no, he didn't say that. He said, "What is your name?" And I just remember I was taken aback because I'm like used to hearing, okay, all the Jacksons have real soft voices. All the Jacksons have real soft voices. This man's voice was soft. Like, his voice was soft. And, I just remember going, "Oh, Mr. Jackie," shaking his hand and giving him a hug, and then there was Tito. And, he said hello, and I gave him a hug. And he said, "Well, what's your name, sweetheart?" I said, "My name is Tiffany." So, I don't know who told them about me, but Marlon, leaned in and he was like, "You're Tiffany." And I was like, "Yes, sir." And my friend Ebony is just standing there because it's supposed to be just my picture, So she wasn't in the photograph with me, so she was just standing there watching me interacting with them. And so they were like, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Texas." All three of them looked at me and said, "Houston?" I said, "Why does TJ keep saying?" I said it like that. I said, "Why does TJ keep thinking I'm from Houston?" And when I mentioned TJ's name, Mr. Tito started laughing, and I could tell he had gotten that information wrong from TJ. But it was very short. It was very brief because I mean they had a line out the door, people trying to meet them and take pictures and everything. But yeah, I still have my picture with the Jacksons. That's the only time I ever had to really meet Mr. Tito. But you know, it's a memory I'll have forever. It's a memory I'll treasure forever. And here's the thing that's crazy about it. I still don't really know who is actually responsible for me meeting Tito Jackson. Like, I don't know if it's TJ. I don't know if it's Taj. I don't know if it's Terrell. I don't know if Tito himself saw my text message. Because my goofy ass was literally like, this is the outfit I'm wearing to the show. So if you see me, I'm wearing this blue dress with these flowers on it. And I still have the dress in my closet. Have not worn it since. But you know, very gracious, very humble, gentleman, very nice. And I've said that before. I said you can see through Tito's three sons and now his grandkids, this great support system, this great like system where they raised up, respectful, nice people. Like even though he's like this legend and founding member of one of the biggest bands of all time, he didn't seem arrogant to me at all. And I've interacted with TJ and Taj quite a bit, and they come across as incredibly normal people. Like they don't put on airs, they don't act like they're better than anybody. They treat you just like your friend. It doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter who you are or whatever. They just, you know, treat you nicely. Okay, so that was me meeting Tito Jackson. Like I said, that's the only time I've ever met Tito Jackson in person. And I wish I had more, because a friend of mine, Ron, he has met the Jacksons so many times. I'm so envious because I know he must have like hundreds of memories of them. But I saw Tito Jackson for the second time and the last time in person in 2022. So I always remember the dates of everything. So October 28th, 29th, 2022. I was in Los Angeles for the very first time for the Thriller Nights event that was celebrating, I believe, 40 years. Yeah, 40 years of Thriller. And the thing was, it was split up for 2 nights. So it was four of us this time. It was me, Carol, April, and my friend Ebony. And Carol and April had tickets to the first party. And, the first party sold out like gangbusters. And me and Ebony got tickets to the second party. So I really wish we had been to the first party because like Chris Tucker was there, like a whole bunch of cool people were there. But my friend, Tito showed up and he was, meeting people and taking pictures and everything, blah, 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 and all that sort of stuff. And, I was like, oh my God, I got to meet Tito. That was so cool. And because April has this really great picture where she took a selfie with Tito. It's just the greatest picture. Now, Carol does not have a picture with Tito. She said she looked for Tito. She couldn't find him. So, I would love to hear April's side of this story. Because she said it before, but I want to hear it again. About how she just, figured out Tito was somewhere near her. But, so, second night bouncing along. Now, I was already flying high. Because I had actually met Taj Jackson for the first time. The day before the first party. We met him at a Starbucks. And, he couldn't really stay as long. So he stayed maybe 30 minutes. and, chatted with us, and, it was very cordial. Like I said, he didn't have to do a doggone thing, especially if he was busy setting up for this party. But he took time out of his day to come see us. That's, like I said, that speaks to the type of man he is and who Tito raised up. I got nothing but good things to say about these people. So, Taj went on about his merry way. And me and Ebony go to the party. So, I mean, like I said, I was just freaking out the whole time I was there. Because, like, never in my lifetime did I ever think I'd be in California. I would be anywhere within a country mile of the Jackson family. And then I'm welcomed in the house that they grew up in? Like, what? And people were being nice. Like, I wasn't getting yeeted out of the place or nothing. Like, I'm a welcome guest here. This is not real life right now. And my boyfriend is always hollering, like, why do you want to go back? You done California. Why do you want to go back? This is why. I can't curse like I want to. This is why. Because, I don't feel special in normal life. Let me just say that. I just am Tiffany. I'm nothing special. But when I was there and whenever I go back, I feel special. And I think everybody deserves to feel special, at least, some of the time. But, that's neither here nor there at this point. But, so, we went in, and I was looking first for Taj, and then I was looking for Tito. So, when me and Ebony were at the party, we ran into Taj. He was just crossing the dance floor, and, there's actually the video of that, where you hear me say, Taj, and I was pissed because I couldn't get my camera to flip around. So all you did was hear him. You never saw him. But, he said, hi, how are you? Taj got that cool voice. So, Taj disappeared. So me and Ebony are steadily walking around the property because, I've been to the property in Havenhurst twice, and I still don't think I've seen everything yet. And I covered some ground when I went in June. I covered some ground. I wound up in places I didn't even know existed. But in 2022, it's nighttime. It's a nighttime party. They got everything lit up. They got little demons and stuff walking around. It was a cool party. Food was fantastic. But, at some point again, we found Taj. And, we took pictures with him and everything. I didn't know how to tie him up. That's my main thing. I don't want to tie somebody up, especially when you got like 500 people walking around and everybody's tugging at you all different ways, wanting to talk to you, wanting to say this to you, wanting to take pictures, can I have your autograph, doing the usual fan stuff. So we were walking away from Taj, because I remember I asked Taj when we were looking for Tito. I asked Taj, I said, where's Mr. Tito? Where's your father at? And Taj was like, I don't know. He's like, if you see him, will you tell me? Taj Jackson said this to me. If you see him, will you tell me? He did his hands like this. I said, and he's dressed as a big ass teddy bear. I said, okay. I said, you sure? And he's like, I haven't seen my father since I've been here. I said, okay. So, we kind of moseyed away. And I don't know somehow, but after that, we managed to run into TJ. We sat, we talked, we spoke to TJ. Terrell wasn't there. Spoke to TJ, had him sign some autographs and stuff, took some pictures, didn't want to tie him up, like I said. So we're steady walking. Now the music going, the music high. It's a moment in there. And, somebody put Billie Jean on at Michael Jackson house in the middle of a Michael Jackson party with like 500 Michael Jackson fans. It turned into Soul Train in there, because there was just a whole bunch of people dressed like Michael Jackson dancing their asses off. And I remember I was standing there watching, I was enjoying it. I can't dance to save my life, but I was enjoying watching everybody else. So something told me because the way that the dance floor was, there's, the main house, and there's a little staircase that goes up to Michael Jackson's bedroom. And, it's like a little balcony area up there. Because I remember I tried to go up there before. And I had asked somebody, I said, am I allowed up there? And they're like, no, you got to have special invite to go up there. So I was like, shit. And, um, so I'm on the ground. I'm watching the people dancing, moonwalking, kicking, all that. So, like I said, my back is to that. So I said, I want to, just drink in the entire experience. I want to see everything. So I turned around and I looked up. Now Ebony's dancing right next to me. I look up and I see Tito Jackson. I flipped shit. Cause I looked and I was staring at him, and I guess he could tell I was staring at him because he stared down at me. So I elbowed the crap out of Ebony, and I said, Ebony, there's Tito. There's Tito. There's Tito. So she's like, oh my God. So we're standing there like a couple of yokels with our mouths wide open, waving. And, he waved, and he had a little mask, and he pulled his mask down, and, kind of stepped away. And I was like, and, I realized, I was like, Jesus Christ, nobody else saw that. Nobody else saw him but us. Because everybody else was focused on lookalikes dancing. And I was like, me and Ebony probably the only ones that saw Tito just chilling upstairs. And, I could be wrong. If somebody else saw Tito on the second night of Thriller Night in 2022, tell me. Let's compare notes. But, yeah. So, I was crazy. And, I mean, he moved out the way before I could even, take a picture. So, but it's a good story to tell. And so, that was the first two, instances of actually seeing Tito. The last time I heard from Tito was June 21st this year. I was in California again. Now, Ebony, Carol, and I were supposed to go to Forest Lawn for the 25th. And I'm trying to remember if there were any other events. I don't think there was any other events. We just wanted to go, pay our respects at Forest Lawn. And I could possibly be omitting something. I don't think I am. But I could be wrong. But if I remember something else, I will explain it. But, I got into town. And, I texted Taj. I was like, hey, when can we see him? He texted me back. Now, keep in mind, this is before the bottom fell out Sunday. He's like, let me get back in touch with you, about that. So, I didn't hear from him for like 2 days. Now, I'm in California. I didn't hear from him for like 2 days. And it was a Friday. And I got the text message, and he was like, he has to go grocery shopping, but he was like, I can meet you at the grocery store. So I was like, okay, odd flex, but okay. I said, okay. I said, we'll meet you there at like 1:30. So, let me shorten the story again. We went to the grocery store. He showed up with his wife and kids. Did not expect his wife and kids to show up. And that was my first time ever meeting, his kids. Beautiful little girls. Gorgeous kids. Beautiful kids. Well behaved children. So, the cycle continues. Well behaved children. Great kids, respectful. So, after he left, he said, well, let's meet up at a coffee shop, because he wanted to make sure his wife and kids got home safely. So we said, okay, go to the coffee shop. Now, as I'm sitting there at the coffee shop with my friends, I'm like, do you think Taj can call Terrell? Because I knew Terrell was supposed to be somewhere on the other side of the country playing a concert with the Jacksons, because after Jermaine, I don't know, was Jermaine retired or, whatever reason, Jermaine stepped away from performing with the Jacksons, and, Terrell kind of filled in his place, performing with his father and his uncles. So, I said, am I going? I was too chicken shit, actually, to ask Taj myself. So I made Ebony do it, because I always make Ebony do the grunt work. Thank you, Ebony. But Ebony asked him, she was like, well, can you call Terrell so Tiffany can talk to him before her head blows off? And Taj was like, sure. So Taj tried, and Terrell must have still been on the plane because, he didn't answer. So we go on and we're having our conversation because Taj sat with us for about 2 hours. And he didn't have to. Because when I saw his little cup get empty, if you look at the photograph where Taj just handed me his phone, you can see his cup of coffee is empty. And the wind started blowing it over. But he kept picking the cup back up and kept talking. And, I was like, when I saw the cup was empty, I was like, oh shit, it's over with. He's going to get up and leave. He stayed. But, we're sitting there, we're talking, and I don't know if his phone vibrated or anything because I didn't audibly hear the phone ring. And, I'm steady talking with my friends and blah, blah. So I see him holding his phone out to me. And I'm like, what's that? Because, after he had tried Terrell, I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk to Terrell. But he was like, it's Terrell. Sir, what? It's Terrell. So I said, okay, all right, cool. So my friends are watching me, because it's like, oh, Tiffany's talking to Terrell. Terrell's her favorite, blah, blah. And, when I spoke to Terrell, he said that he had just landed in Virginia and he was at the airport. He was going to get his luggage. And I mean, you can hear all the little, airplane, airline background noise and stuff. Them calling out plane numbers and blah, blah, we're boarding. And so, I started talking to Terrell. I spoke to Terrell about maybe 5 minutes because, like I said, I never want to tie anybody up, especially when he done just landed in a completely different state and has to go do sound check and get ready for a concert. Terrell elaborated more about just how hectic that type of schedule and touring and all of that is when I had a one-on-one Zoom meeting with him in August. But before then, my intuition was right. That man was strapped for time. So, I started, I was about to say, oh, well, I'm going to let you go. And he was like, okay. It was like, nice talking to you. I was like, nice talking to you too. I love you. And he was like, I love you too. So I was this close to pulling the phone from my ear to hand it back to Tosh. And then as I'm doing this, I can hear Terrell over the phone. Don't hang up yet. Don't hang up yet. Don't hang up yet. So Taj has an iPhone. I don't know shit about an iPhone, so I don't know how to hang up a call on an iPhone. This is an Android. And so, I put the phone back to my ear. I said, well, what's the matter? What's the matter? And so he was like, just hold on, just hold on. And so somebody else came on the phone and said, hello. So I said, hello, hello, hello. We did this 4 times. And, my friends were looking at me like, Tiff, what are you doing? And, Taj just sitting there playing with his cup, not a care in the world. So finally I say, looking at my friends, looking at the side of Taj's head like, who is this? Smoothest goddamn voice I ever heard in my life. This is Tito, Taj's daddy. He phrased it like that. This is Tito, Taj's daddy. Like, he sounded like the coolest, dopest DJ of a radio station there ever was. And I just remember, doing like, it's Tito! It's Tito! I hate my voice does that when I get excited. But I was like, it's Tito! It's Tito! And my friends were like, no fucking way, no way. Taj was laughing his ass off. So I literally don't know if they planned this ahead of time or what. Because Tito, I guess Terrell flew with his father to Virginia. Because for him to be right there, for him to pass the phone off, they had to be together. And, that's like I owe Terrell Jackson life right now. Because he didn't have to pass that phone to his father. He didn't have to do that. Because I didn't know Tito was there. But the fates lined up, and that's how I managed to speak to Tito. And I mean, that's literally my favorite story when people say, well, what did you do while you were in, in California, in June? I spoke to Tito Jackson. I hung out with his son. I spoke to another son. And I spoke to Tito Jackson. And, like I said, that was less than 3 months ago. Because the 21st of September would make 3 months since I'd spoken to him. And, you know, like I said, I'm supposed to go back next month for, another Thriller event. And before what happened Sunday happened, my friends and I were like, oh, I hope Tito shows up. I hope we get to meet Tito. I hope we get to see him again. And, we had no clue. Because the Jacksons literally just played a show in Germany. And two of my friends, Jenny and Sophie, went to the show in Germany. Because they both live in Europe. And, they saw Tito, they saw the Jacksons, you know, nobody said anything seemed, odd or off or nothing. Everybody was just talking about, oh, the show was great, the Jacksons look good, they still got the moves, they still got everything. And we're like, heck yeah, this is great. I said, because here's the thing. Last November, I was supposed to see the Jacksons again. And I was guaranteed to meet the Jacksons. Like, guaranteed. Because I had sources telling me, just let us know when you're going, what time it is. We'll get you in. So, 10 days before the show in November, it got canceled. No idea why. It baffles me because they even had like a dance contest for people to win VIP to meet the Jacksons. I was even telling Ebony, hey, you can kind of dance. Why don't you join the contest? And she was like, hell no, but still. So, I was like, okay, that's fine. Like I said, I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, okay, cool. We'll probably see him in October. Because here's the thing. The party is October 26th. Tito Jackson's birthday is October 15th. Yeah, he passed away exactly 1 month before his 71st birthday. And, we were thinking, oh, he might be in town, for his birthday or, whatever. And, that happened. I hated waking up to that. And, I feel thankful that I do have the memories I do have, even though it's very few. There's some people who have none. And, I feel blessed and fortunate to have even stood in the same room and breathed the same air as this person. And, just not just his impact as a celebrity is, impactful, but just, he was a good person, like right to the end. Like I see that in his sons. And he only has one adult age grandson at this time, but I know that his grandkids, his kids' kids are, going to be great adults and great contributions to society. But I don't know. It's just like he was doing so much good stuff finally. Like, I don't want to say finally, but he was really doing some good stuff where he had just moved to Oklahoma. And I remember when I heard that he and his business partner had a farm in Oklahoma, I was like, what the heck is he doing in Oklahoma? But, I looked at it online, and, he has his little animals, and he likes to go fishing, so I think he had like a fishing pond. And, he was contributing to the area because he's like in some suburb of Oklahoma. But, he was going out and introducing himself to people. He was going out and, contributing to like the high schools and giving speeches at schools and all that sort of stuff. He didn't have to do that. Most people do that. They just go someplace rural, build up a fence and hide. No, he's like, hey, I'm Tito. I'm your neighbor. And, what's your name? How are you doing today? And, he was I think he was supposed to be trying to build up a museum or a black museum or something. And, I had heard not even 2 weeks ago that he was supposed to have like a TV show or a podcast called Hook, Line, and Singers, where he was supposed to sit and fish with different performers and like interview them, like talk with them. And, I was saying, I hope that they filmed at least one episode or something. I hope it was just past the talking stage and, they had actually filmed something. But, it was just outrageous to me. Like, okay, I understand he was 70, but the way I measure that is my father lived to 88. My father was 88 years old when he died. And he was in far less as good a health as Tito Jackson was. Because, like, Tito Jackson could get up every other day and be doing a concert and, like, full-fledged and all that sort of stuff. Dancing, singing. And here's the thing. It's harder for Tito if you think about it. Because, yeah, you got the other ones just standing there dancing and singing. He has to keep beat with a guitar and keep tune while also dancing around with the guitar. That's skill. That's talent, man. Because my uncoordinated self can't do one thing at once, and he's doing like three and crushing it. But it was terrible to hear that he had passed on. And at first, my first thought as a fan was like, crap. Now I can't meet Tito now. I can't meet Tito again. And then I was like, what am I bitching about? Like, his sons just lost their last parent. All his grandkids just lost their grandpa. Because, Taj's youngest child just turned one. Just turned one. And, he was, brother to, the rest of his siblings. He was his mother's son, She has to bury another son. And, it's bad enough to lose one child. This is her third child that she's lost. She lost, Marlon Jackson was a twin, and his twin didn't survive when they were born. Then, lost Michael, and now they lost Tito. And, saying, oh, you made it to 70, that's great. But, I don't care how old Tito is. I don't care how old Michael was. To a mother, that's still her baby. To a mother, that's still her baby. So, everybody else might be seeing, okay, Tito, he was 70 years old, blah, blah. No, to Catherine, that's still her baby that she held in her arms. And I know that's got to be rough. Like, I've never lost a child, and I hope I never do lose a child. But I know that's got to be a terrible pain. That's got to be terrible. Think about it. She's had Tito for 70 years. And now he's gone. That's 7 decades, man. Almost 71. So I feel terrible for his family, his friends, the people who were closest to him, the people who knew him best. And, I'm friends with some people who are, closer to Tito and associates with Tito. And, they're devastated. They're devastated. Because what I get from, the people who were closer to him, not directly blood related, but the people who were closer to him, seemed like he treated everybody like family. Like, there's no strangers here. We're all, together in this. We're family. And I've even had Taj tell me, we're your family now, Tiff. We're your family. And, I just wish that there was more I could do. But I'm stuck in Texas here, to just lend support. Yeah, I'm tweeting, yeah, I'm texting, but at this point, it's really just words. I can say I'm sorry as much as I want. That's not going to bring his father back. That's not going to bring his best friend back, Because, I felt the same way when my parents died. Everybody's saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm praying for you, you'll get through this, rely on God and all this sort of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, I know that, but still, all of that good intention stuff doesn't bring my mother or father back. And, like, I know that they were an exceptionally close family, close knit, and, I feel terrible for them. I'm praying for them. And, I just, at this point, feel kind of helpless, because, like, you know, he was so much to so many different people. And, now that's a void that cannot be filled. And while I'm on the subject of voids being filled, all the people who, under the little banner that said, like, rest in peace, Tito Jackson died at 70, to everybody who was up under it saying, is Jermaine gonna come back? Is Jermaine gonna replace Tito? Is Randy gonna come out of the woodworks to replace Tito? Fuck y'all. Sincerely. A man has died. Father, grandfather, uncle, brother, son. And your first concern is, who's replacing him? When Michael Jackson died, did anybody say, who's going to replace Michael? Who's going to sing for Michael now? No. But you want to act like Tito is just interchangeable as another just black guy in front of the microphone. It doesn't work that way. This is a person. How would you feel if your father, your uncle, whatever you're closest to dies, and some jackass jumps up and says, hey, maybe so-and-so can replace your mom or your dad or, your uncle or this or that? You'd be ready to fight. You'd be ready to fight. You'd be ready to cuss somebody out. You'd be ready to go to jail. So, how can you be so callous and cold and heartless as to, not even 48 hours after this man has died, start asking, who's going to replace Tito? Answer, nobody. Why? Because there's only one Tito Jackson. Just like there's one of everybody. There's one Tiffany, there's one Tito, there's one Michael, there's one everything. And nothing can replace that. Am I famous? Am I anybody? No. But if I die, there will never be another Tiffany Monique Butler anywhere. Probably for the better of the planet, but still. And that's really what pissed me off the most out of all of this, was that nobody under this even said, oh, I feel bad for, Tito's sons, I feel bad for his family. Who's gonna replace Tito? Have you lost your fucking minds? And, if I upset somebody with this, you're the problem if you get upset. If you think I'm wrong saying, you're cold and a heartless snake for even fixing your gnarled fingers to type that out. Like, seriously. Like, who the fuck raised you to even pose that question to anybody? They haven't even had the funerals yet. I don't even know if they even transported the earthly remains anywhere near the final resting place. But that was the first thing out of your face. Who's going to replace him? Who cares? A man has died. A great man. There's people hurting. There's people aching. I sincerely doubt that a week from now, a newly formed Jacksons is going to get up on stage and start singing anywhere. No. Absolutely not. And here's the thing. The Jacksons are all in their 60s and 70s. Now, I'm not trying to curse nobody or anything, but eventually, one day we're going to look up and everybody's going to be in heaven. How are you going to replace an entire groundbreaking, award winning, legendary group? Now, do you see how stupid you sound? Have you ever heard anybody say, well, gee, who's going to replace Paul McCartney? Or Ringo? Or George? Who's going to replace Elvis? You see how stupid that sounds? Right. That's how stupid you sound. Now, for everybody else who got a good sense like me, stay strong. Try to send words of support to the Jackson family if you're able to. And like I said, my DMs are open if anybody needs to talk or vent or get anything off their chest. If you're going to come at me about this bullshit about, you know, replacing Tito, go to hell and sit on a hot coal. Have a good night. And my thoughts and prayers are with the Jackson family during this difficult time. Always. Bye, y'all. Why isn't this working?